The National Testing Agency (NTA) has released the revised and final results of NEET exams. There are two biggest changes compared to the previous June 6th results. Last month when the NTA announced the results, there were 13,18,268 students qualified in the NEET entrance exam. But in the recently announced revised 26th July results, 13,15,853 students have been qualified. That's a difference of 2,415 students. What happened to these students? That's first. The second biggest change was in the toppers list. Earlier, there were 61 students who had scored a perfect score of 720 out of 720. But in the newly announced results, this number went from 61 to 17 students who got the perfect scores. The question everybody was asking was, how was it possible for 61 students to score perfect 720 out of 720? Because in 2023, only 2 students had scored across India. Question paper was tough and mathematically not an easy task to achieve. I think the real question to ask is, what happened to these toppers after the revised results? Most of these students' marks came down from 720 to 715. But this raises another question. Now, how many students have got 715 across India? In this video, we will discuss in detail about what happened in the Supreme Court, what is the NEET scam, paper leaks, why there is so much of chaos about data along with charts. So let's get deep into one of the biggest controversies of Indian education in this analysis. Before we get into the NEET controversy, recently I launched a skill-based video editing course. If you like video editing, use the coupon code EDIT50 to get a 50% discount. The link is in the description. Now, what is NEET? National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test. This is an entrance test to get seats for undergraduate medical courses conducted for both government and private colleges all India by the central government agency called NTA, National Testing Agency. If you want to study medical courses, this is a mandatory test, purely conducted because of a high demand across the country. There are more than 20 lakh students participating in this exam. It is in fact the biggest exam in India in terms of number of applicants. If you see this chart from 2019, apart from the lockdowns, there has been a steady growth in the number of students participating in the exam. This demand is because of the rise in the growth of the healthcare sector in India. According to the Niti Aayog report, if you compare the last 10 years, there has been a growth of 16.28%, which is already high. But if you look at the growth from 2016, the annual growth rate has been 22%. That's very high. This is from the industry point of view. Because there are guaranteed returns, job opportunities are also bigger and a lot of students participate in this exam. As the demand grows bigger, the business also gets hotter, right? Some private colleges charge up to 1 crore college fees for these courses. Poor and middle class families can't afford that much money, right? Even after selling a kidney. So the hustle is to get the government seat. So the ranks matter a lot. Till around 2012, this exam was called as All India Pre-Medical Test. Then in 2013, NEET UG was introduced. States were conducting their own exams and it was under the CBSE board, Central Board of Secondary Education. Top institutes like AIIMS, KMC, Manipal were conducting their own exams, right? Now, as it got bigger, NEET was introduced in 2013. But then NEET faced a lot of legal challenges and it went to the court. The Supreme Court said NEET exam was unconstitutional. The verdict even said each state has its own system and pattern of education, including the medium of instruction. There can be no controversy that the standard of education all over the country is not the same. But in 2016, the political landscape in India had changed drastically. The Supreme Court withdraws their order and gives go-ahead for NEET. This time, the Supreme Court said in this whole discussion, NEET is there to end all the corruption. Let the central agency handle this exam, and that is how NTA started conducting this exam. So far, if you got the broad picture of what is NEET, now let's get into the next chapter, which is the controversy of NEET. On May 5, 2024, NTA conducted the NEET exam. In this exam, a total of 23,33,297 students participated. Out of them, 13,34,982 were female. 9,98,298 were male students. 17 were transgender students. The controversy started on the day of the exam itself. In one of the exam centers in Rajasthan, students started complaining about a paper leak, and some students walked out of the exam hall with their question papers. They started posting on social media regarding the paper leaks. But NTA started justifying that no paper leaks have happened. But they admitted wrong question papers were distributed by the invigilator. This is one side of it, right? The other side, there was another case in Bihar where a few hours before the exam, there was an allegation of paper leaks. Bihar police did the investigation and the case became bigger and it went to CBI. Then it went on to Supreme Court as well. So we will look at the Supreme Court verdict separately. Now, on 6th June 2024, it was election results day. The government of India strategically preponed the NEET results to the same day of election results. It was supposed to happen 10 days later. Why? Why prepone it? So that all the TV channels will be fully busy with election results, right? So this whole NEET controversy will not have much news value. On this day, NTA announced the results for NEET exams, right? This is where the actual controversy started. Out of 23,33,297 students, 13,18,268 students were qualified for the NEET. In this, 61 students had got 720 out of 720. This was unbelievable and it has not happened in the history of NEET exams. Paper leak stories, students started protesting for justice, and then the controversy started picking up, right? The CBI investigations became bigger and again it went to the Supreme Court. Now NTA started giving justification about these high marks, saying there was a physics question where 2 answers were correct. In some old syllabus, the other option was also correct. 1,563 students who had attempted were given grace marks because both answers were correct. And then there was time loss, etc. But the Supreme Court very strictly said, no grace marks. Reconduct the exam for the affected students. Now the Supreme Court clearly agreed that there was paper leak. That means it is true, right? Came from the CBI investigations. Some students had already paid lakhs to get the question paper, etc. But the court also said it is just an isolated incident and not a widespread exam problem. On top of that, students who had got these questions didn't even cross 550 marks. So we can say it has not affected the overall exam much. The NTA reconducted the exam for these affected students, and out of this only 813 students attended. So after re-exam, for these affected students, NTA revised the whole results and announced it for all India, right? The result is where some of the questions still need answers. Now let's analyze the data published by the National Testing Agency. So in the results, there were 23,33,162 students participated, and out of them, 13,15,853 students qualified. Compared to the previous results, there is a difference of 2,415 in the qualified list. My first question is, where did these many students disappear? Even if you remove those around 740 students who didn't attend the exam, this is still a big number of students who didn't qualify. The numbers don't match. Now the second analysis is about the toppers. All the news articles were saying about 61 students who got 720 out of 720 in the first results. I went through every single student of roll number, name, rank, state, everything, and I found only 52 students who had got this perfect 720 out of 720. In the updated results, this number came down to 17 because they removed the grace marks given to all these students. Even 17 is a huge number because last year there were only 2 students who got this perfect score. Anyway, let's not put nazar on these students who got the perfect score. The second question is, where did all the other toppers go after removing the grace marks, right? They all went from 720 to 715. My question is, how many students have got 715 score? I checked the entire list. There were 77 students who got 715. This is a massive number. I will tell you why. In 2023, last year, there were only 15 students who got 715 marks. In 2022, there were only 4 students who got 715. In 2021, there were only 8 students, and in 2020, there were 4 students who got 715 marks. Now, how is it possible for these many students to get 715 marks? Forget about top 720 out of 720. The second rank is what I am asking, 715. To add to this curiosity, the NTA site has not displayed the marks column for the 4th June results. They have displayed everything apart from the marks. Why? What is there to hide? If it is deliberate, then the government is trying to hide something. If not, let's consider such a big important column hidden by mistake. Is there a scam here? I don't know, but definitely some irregularities have happened here. CBI has confirmed paper leaks. The court has agreed to it. However, the government will never admit to it. As usual, politicians will always say it is completely baseless.
देखिए, एक तो मैं आपको स्पष्ट करूं, there is no corruption.
हुआ है, दिल्ली में भी अरेस्ट हुआ है सर।
पेपर
सर, दिल्ली में भी अरेस्ट हुआ है
मैं
सर।
आपको विनम्रता से कहूं, पेपर लीक की कोई घटना की कोई पुख्ता प्रमाण नहीं है.
Students are not my audience, but if you are a student and watching this video, here is a very personal note to you if you ever think of failure or ending your life. My sister had failed her 12th board exam in one of the papers. On that day, she was crying, breaking her phone, getting depressed, thinking, it was all over in life. And I told her only one thing. Failure is nothing but of your attempt at that particular time was not up to the mark. I will repeat that again. Your attempt at that particular time was not up to the mark. Be it sports, be it exams, or be it in life, that's all failure is. I told my sister, you have so many attempts, and now all you need to do is study only one paper instead of 6 papers. Go for as many attempts as they give, right? Chill. I don't know what motivated her. She became very disciplined and she started going to the temple, strictly started studying, and she not only cleared the backup paper, she went on to study her degree and completed her BCom. I'm going to say the same thing to you as well. Failure is nothing but your attempt at that particular time is not up to the mark. That doesn't mean you are a bad person or you are a failure. All you have to change is your next attempt. That's all. It's not about you, right? I will end the video here. So whatever opinions you have, share it in the comment section. I will see you in the next video.